considered evil is really low. It's only about 30%. So 60% of what are considered demons, in fact, prince of demons or legions of demons, aren't actually demons. They are rebranding of everyday patrons, gods, even cryptozoology creatures. So explaining other things that happen in your home all got lumped into demons. The name of familiar gods of this or that people became, under Christianity, the name of demons. Thus, according to the Christian Church, all who honored the old gods began to worship demons, Satan, the devil. So it literally became a translation. You know how you use Google Translate, and if you go back and forth between Mandarin, Chinese, and English, and you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it becomes a whole new thing. This is what was done with religion. So by saying, oh yeah, you believe that, we acknowledge that. The translation in our religion is demon. And then they're like, oh, okay, thank you. So that I'm worshiping demons. And then they learn about the religion. They learn, oh, what I'm doing is actually really bad. So it became oppressive. It happens, the word demon comes from the ancient Greek word to mean deity, spirit, or daemon, which derives from the word meaning divide, share, or distribute, and initially referred to a god who gave out destinies to people. With the arrival of Christianity, the neutral or even, oh my gosh, my stutter is in the way. The neutral gods or even beneficial gods quickly became identified as demon or equivalent to the devil. If you read the Encyclopedia of Demonology, you'll just turn to any page. Quite a few demons are the demon of inspiration, the demon of liberal arts. What? The demon of creating music. These aren't demons. So Christianity took any expression of which could be challenging to their faith and lumped it into Christianity in order to gain followers. Let's create fear so that people stay with us. So these things, anything that we consider now decision-making skills or creative thinking skills, which are very employable traits, were considered demonic. In short, so I'm going to kind of like, in short, so Lucifer, and if you look into Luciferianism or Satanism, actually, let's just talk about that real quick. Because I want to quote it correctly. Okay, what is Satanism? The 9 satanic statements. Satanism, the Satanic Bible came out in 1969, and the statements are as follows. Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence. So just following the things that are natural to our human body? Okay, that doesn't seem bad. Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams. A promise that you don't know will actually happen, living in the moment, being aware of your existence, which I'm not a Satanist, but I don't think it's a bad faith. I do say, like, follow what you experience. Listen to spirit when it's talking to you. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. Let's be honest. Don't be novel about your religion, or don't be novel about what you do. Just be truthful. Satan represents kindness to those who deserve it instead of love wasted on ingrates. So that person that shoves you at the target, you don't have to be nice to them. Don't turn the other cheek. Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. So you can push him back. Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of concern for psychic vampires. So taking responsibility for your actions and not bleeding out other people. And then also, on the other side, not nurturing people who take from others. Satan represents man just as another animal, but sometimes better, more often worse than other animals. Because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, he has become the most vicious animal of all. So, recognizing that we are a destructive creature. Satan represents all of the so called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, and emotional gratification. And finally, Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had because he keeps them in business. Now, when it comes to Satanism, the issue with Satan, according to Satanism, the issue with the devil and demons is these specific entities were people who challenged God. Now, this is parallel to many other ancient faiths. In fact, almost all of them. Almost all ancient faiths have daddy issues where they overthrow the father in order to lead people in a more open and divine fashion. Christianity does the opposite. If you defy the Father punishes you. So, Christianity was able to take all of these religions, which all followed the same idea as Satan challenging God, and equate them. So if you believed in Zeus, Zeus overthrew his father. So did Thor. So did the indigenous, oh my gosh, the Iroquois. So did, I mean, there's, the documentation is extreme about don't follow pipe dreams. Now, what does this have to do with demons? So, the definition of demons comes that we understand in, if you're a viewer in America or in Western culture, and if you're a viewer outside of America, I'm sure you're fully aware of the Black Lives Matter movement and trying to normalize and treat Black people with the same value as white people. The issue here is it comes from a religious standpoint pre-America. So we have this oppressive culture in Christian nations that predates America. It's ingrained so deep that we had to go into a root system to dig it out. So there's that. It's not just as simple as saying, "Oh, I have a Black friend." Oh my God, don't say that. So let's talk about what were. I'm gonna close this, and I talk a little bit more about black magic and what that means. In a course when I talk about introduction to black magic, and if I have the ability to share my screen, I would share my screen with you so that we could do that. I am figuring it out. But I do teach that. If you're on my website, you could see all the things that I teach throughout the week. It's a lot. I'm busy. But I do have an introduction to black magic where I talk a little bit more about Christianity and their oppression and what black magic even means and what the term is. But now I'm gonna segue a little bit into what are demons? What does that mean? So from around the world, I teach a class on cryptozoology. My mouth is getting dry, and the chat's been pretty quiet. So I think you guys are engaged. Refilled my coffee cup. Refilled. So we're going to talk a little bit in cryptozoology now. Cool. Got Blip and Grace. You guys are back. Fictional's here with me. This is a good cup, guys. That's what life is for. Good coffee. Good coffee and good red wine. Everybody just wrote down, okay, he's Sicilian. All right. So, we're going to talk about elementals. Now, I also love teaching cryptozoology, and I'm working on a book to normalize, I'm going to use quotes on mythological creatures or cryptids from around the world. So what we know about cryptids, just a little history about cryptozoology. What we know about cryptids is mostly, again, from a white narrative. So when we talk about what mythological creatures, I'm not sure I 100% trying to make though. Oh, on Christianity. My point is, what are demons? It's not as big as Christianity has made it. There are lots. My hope today is to illustrate that there are actually other entities that live around us that are not demons that can also cause havoc. Your house is not being possessed. A demon is not out to get you. It's not as regular as people make it. There are other explanations. The reason we think demons are everywhere, or people think I need to cleanse my house because there's a demon, is because of Christianity, because of what we've been told. That's what I'm trying to do. Yes, our definition of demon is from a Christian viewpoint. Do demons exist? Yes. Are they? But we're going to change the view from Christian because how we deal with them is different. How we deal with what could be in our house is different than a demon. Does that make sense, everyone? Is everyone tracking with me? Right, I get you. I think there was just a lot of different points wrapped up in there. So my daughter, if she pops in, Nina, I don't know if she's viewing. She tells me that I go too fast when I'm teaching. So, followers, definitely be like, slow down. You lost us. Too much info. Allie, could you back up? Because I get on like this, I like nerd out. So, are we all on the same page? So excited. Looks like, could you get to it because my virgin sacrifice is going stale. So could you actually speed it up here? Okay, looks like we're good. I'm going to talk about elementals. The goat won't stay warm forever. Okay, I'll move right along. And I actually I have a video of a black mass that takes place in Mexico. So I'm you guys that are also streamers, like, we gotta chat so you can help me like how to figure out how to share my screen. And again, it might be an issue because I'm a new streamer that it won't let me. So funny. So in ancient cultures, so now we're going to go into ancient and folk religions. So we're not talking about the major religions of the world right now. We're going to talk about pagan religions and folk religions. So in those faiths, explanations of the world around us come from, or we explain the world around us by giving anthropomorphic ideologies or characters. Now, this has been done throughout the world again. So we're talking about a through line across cultures. I want to define it for you. Okay, in 1658, elementals was defined as invisible spiritual counterparts of visible nature. I can't believe I got through that without stuttering. Invisible spiritual counterparts of visible nature. Many resembling human beings in shape and inhabiting worlds of their own, unknown to man because of his undeveloped senses. He is incapable of functioning beyond the limitations of the grosser elements. Elementals are humanoid, except for fire elementals, they're not. So I kind of skip past fire elementals, so I'm going to do that today. But we're going to move on to air elementals because this is how we start to explain different kinds of demons or angels. So air elementals are a category. So in the book that I'm writing on cryptozoology, I lump them by similarity instead of by location. When we think about cryptids, we think angels, we think Pegasus, we think the Loch Ness Monster, we think Bigfoot, which are all in white areas. We can actually normalize or start to accept that there may be creatures that live among us that we have not experienced. The theory is viable if we compare experiences cross-culturally instead of unilaterally. So we're going to talk about some air elementals that are all similar in nature from around the world in order to explain angels. And then we're going to go into demons. But, oh, the train derailed. Train of thought derailed. Come back. Let's just move on. Okay, so actual demons are rare. Demons are only one creature, well, classification in the world of cryptozoology. When Christianity and demonology became popular, all of the creatures from here on out were grouped together to be labeled as demons, and villainized in order to prevent worship or belief in different religions, faiths, and mythos that were contrary to Christianity. What we know about demons is only popularized by our narrow Christian-influenced narrative. So, these air elementals are considered solid. We have those creatures in the pixie family or fairies, and you're like, Allie, you're gonna tell me fairies exist? Oh, I remember my train. The silverback gorilla was a cryptid until the 70s. So was the it's in the Galapagos Islands. The Komodo dragon. They weren't real. So we're able to discover new creatures all the time. So why don't we take mythos that are cross-cultural and look at that as evidence on creatures that we may not have the capability of seeing? Just a suggestion as a theory. So in the world of air creatures, we have pixies, and across cultures, they have various names. You can find them in China, in the UK, Germany, Sweden. Not super popular in locations of Africa or in Australia, because these ones specifically have wings. There are dangerous creatures with wings, again, cross-cultural. So we have sirens and harpies, which we're familiar with. The sylph, the Oknost from Russia, and a sirene from Russia also. Then we have prophetic humanoids. We might be familiar with the Mothman, but similarly in Asia, you have a Kalavinka, and they aren't themselves dangerous, but they give profits. And then things that protect us cross-culturally, you have angels. In the Hindu and Buddhist and Jain, you have a Garuda. And again, they're described similarly, but they have differences. I am going to skip over water, but there are some water elementals that are considered demonic, okay? And these specific creatures are ones that would eat people, right? They would pull them in, and they're water demons. They're actually creatures that live in the water that we have a hard time seeing. Many of them are half-breeds or a breed off of human beings. But we're going to move into land elementals because they are going to explain more of demons. So fake demons, things that seem like demons but are not, are in the goblin family. Allie, goblins are real? Yeah, I believe they are. I'm sorry to tell you, but different goblins are real because they are documented all over the world. Now, They have the ability to make themselves hard to see. Look at creatures we have in the ocean. We have translucent creatures in the ocean. So you're telling me that that can't exist on land? I'm not going to buy that as scientific. I'm going to say the possibility is there that we do have the ability to have translucent creatures on land. Goblins, they like a mess. They like to dye their clothes with bodily fluids. They are mischievous. They can be violent. They dislike order and enjoy shadows and muck. Sounds like a demon, doesn't it? When we say, oh, a demon. Hobgoblins are rude. They like to create fear. So their functionality is by creating fear. This may explain some poltergeist activity or things being moved in the house. Now, where I'm from, we have a version of a goblin or a version of land elementals called the Menehune. Menehune, lore says that they are mischievous, some downright mean, but they can also build religious temples overnight. Which fall into more of a brownie category, but they're all part of the same family. In Norway, if someone's from Norway, I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. You have a Holderfolk. So you can get rid of them. Here's the thing. You can get rid of goblins. And how do you know if you have a goblin or a demon? Because that's part of like, is there a demon in your house? So we can't ignore our natural human instincts to know when there is danger, right? That's why we have it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fear. So why are we afraid when there's nothing to be afraid of? We have a rational brain. So something about our nervous system is saying there's something dangerous. Usually the unknown. Okay, many people are afraid of the dark or afraid of how something may affect them to explain phobias. But when those aren't the consideration and we want to say that something has changed, there's something in our home, how do we explain that? Many people say demons and they call for a blessing. Well, a blessing is not going to get rid of a goblin. And they're more likely than a demon. And so is our next category. In the daemon category, actual demonic presence is pretty rare. But what you can do to get rid of goblins is get a cat. What? Yes, get a cat. You can also get a dog, although dogs would be problematic if you have a different kind of entity in your home. But cats can get rid of goblins. Other things is lore will say, not Laura, I don't know Laura. Lore will say that you can get rid of goblins, which has been translated to demons in this area, but goblins by giving them an impossible task because goblins are proud. Now they say if you throw a bunch of shells or salt or that it becomes so difficult that there's shame and they run away. Truth be told, actually, if you look at ancient writings of relationships or interactions with goblins, they're good at those things and they're stubborn. So they are going to come back. You can, however, give them impossible tasks where they would leave. Also, there are certain scents, like that are unappealing, and they dislike order. So if you regiment your house, clean your house, it's another something disgusting. They don't want to live there. Okay? So now we're going to move into the daemon category. These are things that have no measurable solid form that are not ghosts. So in the earlier chat today, someone, gosh, my memory of names is so bad. I think I need to just see the same name a bunch of times to remember. And maybe they're back. If you're back, oh, will it let me? Well, let me see who's in chat. It won't. Is ghosts don't exist or ghosts aren't real? Again, we're going to use the fact that these have been documented cross-culturally as evidence of proof. or proof and evidence, because they are based on experience and they're documented. So in this category, we are saying that there are creatures. Oh, fictional, just like made my heart sing by even just using the word Maori. There's some traumatic murder stories about people getting rid of demons. The worst ever heard was the Maori exorcism, the death of Jane Moses. Yes, exorcisms are so violent, and in a lot of cases, are the wrong tool to get rid of entities. They're so damaging, which is also why the Christian church doesn't allow them anymore, or doesn't rarely allows them, because demonic possession is actually quite rare. But there may be something else in your house that you could get rid of. And I want to copy and paste that. Will it let me do that? Yes. Boop. All right, so I'm going to say the daemon category instead of a demon. A daemon category are those things that have no measurable solid form. But solid does not mean it's the only way it could exist. That's why we have other forms. The most common is the Bogart or the boogeyman. What? Allie, boogeyman, what? Okay, just type it in Wikipedia. If you look up boogeyman in Wikipedia, and any of the followers, oh no, I think I have that stupid setting where we can't share links yet. A boogeyman is going to introduce the demon category, because a lot of times a Bogart, and I'm going to use the word Bogart because it doesn't sound as like comical, but they are across every single culture in the history of humanity. Every single one. Other words are Sackman, El Coco, Kuka, Babua, Butsaman. They're like, just type it in Bogart in Wikipedia, and you're gonna find that they are all over the world. So they are the most #1 documented entity or cryptid in the history of cryptozoology, more than demon. Let's talk about what they are. So it's been around forever in every place around the world. They will put their clammy hands on your face while you sleep. Ew. They are said to cause dogs to go lame, which is why cats might be better to get rid of things. They say uncouth things. They're ugly. They have bestial attributes, and they cause bad dreams. The good news is this: you get rid of them very similarly to goblins. Just understand that they have no body. So they just want to move in and cause havoc. They are hard to get rid of and like to attach to people by harassing them. They don't want to be in you or take over your soul. They say those things or create that environment in order to upset you because, and here we go, because their purpose is to feed off of the ectoplasmic fear that you give off. Nom, nom, nom. So by creating a happy place and ignoring them, they will move elsewhere. The hard part is staying strong. So in situations where you have things that cause fear. Yep. Bogart. It's a Bogart. They don't actually want to possess you. They just want to eat off of you. They're literally an energy parasite. And when I say literally, I mean the word literally. I don't mean figuratively, literally, figuratively. I mean literally. They survive by eating, like other creatures. Nom, nom, nom. It's there to scare you. How do you banish it? Okay, how do you banish it? So let's talk about the theory of this. Theory as in like actually do these things. So know first and foremost if you have a rational reason to be afraid. If you don't, calm yourself. okay, because it wants to eat. They don't like happy places and order, much like a goblin. So, you do things in your home that you would do if you have a goblin also, or even a demon. You would, number one, clean the whole house. Make sure it's very clean, okay, because they like disorder. Open windows. So, number one thing when you watch movies on demons, what they do is they end up boarding up all their windows and there's no light, which then makes your mind wander and fear happen. Open the shutters, open the windows, have the air come in, get stuff moving. Put plants in your house and flowers, have fresh flowers out. You want to make life happen. I also tell people play music, and I think the best kinds of music to play aren't necessarily religious, because again, Christianity has told us what demons are. You don't need Christianity in order to get rid of something that's older than Christianity. I find the best music to put on is things that make me want to dance. Like, I love Latin music. Like, that's a good one. I'm like, oh, there's something in the house. So if I do a cleansing and someone's like, there's a demon in my house, I'm like, oh, okay, no, there isn't. But we'll get rid of it anyway. I'm going to do a cleansing by putting on some wonderful music. And truth be told, I will put on Call Me Maybe and ABBA on repeat. Because how can you be upset listening to ABBA? And I mean, can any of you actually argue with me on that? No, you can't. Nobody can be angry listening to ABBA. So that's you have liven the house, have flowers, and work through. We call it a ho'oponopono. It means the translation in English is to make things very right or to make things righteous. Oh, I do believe that. So you can also do it to spirit and be like, Waterloo. Yeah, let's push spirit out. Like, Waterloo on repeat. Call Me Maybe has been brought up, and I've heard it over and over the past 2 weeks. Because it's the best song ever. Fictional player. It's just the best song ever. The universe is like, it's the best song. I love Call Me Maybe. I'll listen to it on repeat. But you want to liven your house. Things at night, because nighttime is when we have a tendency to be most afraid. So, what are you afraid of? The closet? Take the doors off. You're afraid of what's behind the closet? Then make it so nothing's behind it. Open it up. Put parts of your faith in there. I've told people to set up an altar. If they're Christian, put up saints, or put up just a place to pray to Jesus. If you're not Christian, put up an altar in places that you're afraid. So you change its meaning psychologically. I've even said, oh, you're afraid of this area because you think it might be haunted. Put life in it. Have a Zoom salsa party. Like, just like go chill out in that part of your house and create new memories in there. That's gonna help get rid of those kinds of things. Even if it's your bedroom, like, gotta change the energy. Gotta make it a happy place. And they move out. Now they come back, but they can move out. Let's talk about what demons are specifically now, because we have about 15 minutes. Wait, when's my meeting? Because I could probably go over. Yeah, I can hug up to it, so I can go a little bit over. Party with him. They generally don't want to be friends. Bogarts. They just want to eat negative energy. Fear. Okay, so demons are considered to, they look half human, half beast, but they are upright. They usually have too many fingers or none. No bones or skin. They have a different number of heads, talons, wings, hooves. They like homes. They are aggressive, and they like chaotic, messy places. Sound familiar? They have no body, and they wish to use living creatures as a shell, like a crab or a clam. Not a clam, like a crab. like a hermit crab. They want to wear you as a shell. Grace, I hope that you got rid of the Bogart. Demons don't make dogs go lame. They'll just kill them if they get in the way. Now, here's the thing about demons is they are only going to go places that they know they could be successful. So, they want human beings, usually not non-living things. They want human beings. Now, they do live amongst us, but there aren't many. They want human beings in which there is a hole in the aura. So if you are living a balanced life, you have no fear. Like if we are to scientifically say what causes a demon to possess people, you have no fear. None. It cannot get in. Period. Period. So if you have a strong faith, whatever your faith is, I have a relationship with my faith. Your home life is healthy. Your career and aspirations, your financial security, your mental, emotional, and physical health. Now, if your physical health is not good, it doesn't mean demons are coming. Don't worry. But they look for a hole in the aura. So if you have parts of your life, you are miserable in your job, you don't feel connected to your faith, then I actually recommend you're in the wrong faith. You hate your job, my God, just put your resume together and get a new one. Like, just go hunting. You can do it. You can do it. And if you need me to be your cheerleader, I'm there for you. I will be your cheerleader. But demons only move in when there is a hole to move into. I'm going to zoom ahead. Let's talk about hauntings. So there is the theory. There's a book by a medium. What is his name? I forgot his name. I'm so bad at authors. Yes, you could put me down as your reference, and I will talk to the demon and say, "Get out, please." Oh, put your down as a reference as an Blip's like, call him. I was employed by him. And I'm like, who was it? They said they went by Blip. Ah, yeah, great employee. Fantastic. Personal reference? You want personal reference? They're funny. Yeah, you wanna work with Blip. Blip is hilarious. So experiencing night terrors or grotesque nightmares sounds like a Bogart. Habitually waking up between midnight and 3 a.m. feeling terrified. Bogart. Becoming increasingly anxious or procrastinating as bedtime approaches. Bogart. Not demon. With complaints about sleeping in his or her own bedroom. I lost my chapstick again. Reporting of a black figure-shaped shadow, hooded figures, ghostly figures as demonic entities with red eyes that threaten harm. Threaten? But did they actually do anything? Because a Bogart's not actually going to do anything. They just make you scared. They need you to be healthy so that they can continue to eat. Acute hyperactivity, anxiety during the daytime, or an intense increase in reckless or self-injurious behavior, which is allowed to become chronic, may result in a legitimate mental health diagnosis, which is another common whoopsie. Maybe it's mental health problems. So a lot of people who help with demonic presences need to determine first if there's a mental health obstacle, because they may need a doctor and there's nothing wrong in their homes. So that's another explanation. Is this not actually a demon? Demons actively roam the universe to prey upon weak people's energy. People who are generally children, addicts, or those who fall under excessive use of any kind of the sins. And I like to put sins in quotes. because it enjoys messy atmosphere and chaotic energies. They're duplicitous, they masquerade as something else. They want control. I'm the only one who. Which, does that sound familiar? I'm sure you have, fictional, because I think we've talked about that before. Demonic like versus mental health. But it's always good to check off that box first, right? I mean, could you imagine the damage someone could do to someone who is struggling with their mental health and doing something like an exorcism to them? Oh my gosh. So demons are the equivalent of a toxic relationship to the living. So remember, if we look at what defines a toxic relationship or codependent, people who use the word I a lot, they're the only ones who could do this for you. You are helpless without them, or they make you feel like you are helpless without them. They try to make you feel they are defensive in nature. They make you feel dependent, and they don't empower you. So many demons will present themselves duplicitously as a guardian angel or as a spirit guardian by saying, oh, I'm the only one, and they are trying to control you. This is a warning. Warning, warning, warning. Because spirit guides don't do that. Possession. The human mind gives off energy by the effort that it just functions. By his energy to direct his own energy, humans are the strongest living creature on the earth and can manipulate energy around them, which we kind of talked about earlier today with electromagnetic energy. We are always accomplishing. We are always concerned about the control over ourselves and what we do, including how success is measured. Now, the only way a demon could be involved or take over is if we give up the control over our sense of being, which could mean accomplish. So how do we view success? Some view it by how much money you have. Some view it by how much you accomplish. Some view it by how many friends you have. So by giving up that power of the sense of identity to something else, you are now allowing possession. Now, how rare is that actually? You're like, I'm being harassed by something, but I don't give up my control of my identity. Then you aren't being harassed by a demon. You are being harassed by something else. A brownie, a goblin, a bogart, a fairy, a pixie. Pixies don't harass people. They're good things. I mean, the list is very long of the kinds of entities that it could be. But Christianity is going to say, it's a demon! It's probably not. And doing an exorcism is very violent and invasive. And what if it's the wrong medical procedure or spiritually medical procedure? You just harmed a person where you could have put up some basil in your house to get rid of it. You could have put up dried basil all over and gotten rid of a goblin. They don't like basil. Neither do bogarts. And you just spiritually molested a human being. And you still have the problem. It's still there. So, the likeliness of demons is really low in reality. Do they exist? Oh, sure. Again, they've been documented for thousands of years. They're even in Buddhism. A non-theistic religion. Demons are a part of Buddhism. So, let's see what else. Truth about demon possession. When we talk about Christianity, there's an interesting uh, preacher that talks about demon possession. I really need my chapstick. Demon possession. And he actually talks about if you allow Jesus to be a part of you, then nothing else can get in. And when he talks about it that way, he's actually allowing a possession by an entity, a god, like a deity, into his body, which would be considered a demonic possession. It's still possession. If you allow Jesus to overtake your soul, it is a possession. So, of course, the shell's being used. Demon can't get in there. So is he right? Yeah, okay. But I don't want anything to take over this shell. I like this shell. Like, I could be the only thing in it, and I'm fine with that. Why would I allow Jesus in? That's not good. So if you allow one thing in, you may be opening yourself up to allow something else to get in. There's that little quandary to think about. What do you think about that? That's just me supposing, because listening to this guy, and he talked about the different Latin words of demonization. Daimonizomai is under the influence of demon spirit or a religious experience. Daimonion is demon spirit itself. Diabolos is the devil. Angelos is a messenger or angel. And demonization is a continuum for human beings from light to heavy influence. This man says that there's no such thing as demonic possession, only influence. To influence our brains, influence our actions, and sometimes to a gross effect. I don't remember the preacher's name. Did I write it down? I didn't write it down. I need to start writing down names. Ooh, I can tell you for some of the names from all over the world about boogeyman. Let's see. Afghanistan, Albania, Azerbaijan, Belize, Bosnia, Brazil, Portugal, the Inuit, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Egypt. England, there's a ton for those of you English. Oh my gosh, that's a long list. You have them all over, and you couldn't agree with, in the UK, you guys could not agree on one name. Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, India, same as the UK. So many. Indonesia, Iraq, Italy, Japan, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Nepal, Netherlands, Pakistan, Panama, Poland, Russia, Saudi Arabia. They separated Scotland. Serbia, South Africa, Switzerland, Taiwan, Trinidad and Tobago, Turkey, Ukraine, the United States has a bunch. That sounds like us. Can't agree with ourselves. And it then also says, look up these terms. Wowzers. Also, in some cases, a dark entity in the back of your room is nothing. They're nothing. And I wish that was more normalized. There's nothing wrong with that dark creature that's in the dark that looks like a man. There are certain entities that go looking for spirits to help them cross over. And we're so not used to seeing them because they're not normalized in our Christian-dominated narrative that we're afraid of things we don't understand or we don't know. These entities aren't going to harm you. They don't want anything to do with you. They're just collecting. They're collecting spirits. And again, they're viewed the same way cross-culturally. So in some, they have the sickle, but they appear hooded. It's just we can't see their features because they're just black. They have tendrils, or they're wispy, kind of blurry to look at. Cross-culturally, and they want nothing to do with you. You're like, oh, it's a bad omen, someone's gonna die. Not necessarily. Could be your next door neighbor. Could be that there's a ghost wandering around that needs to be collected. May have nothing to do with you. Not everything's about you, Colleen. Yes. So, that is the end of my demonic, like, chit chat. Are you actually being haunted? The answer is no, probably not. Probably not. But, I mean, is there something in your home? Maybe. Stop hitting the computer, Allie. So that is my lecture. Where am I going to put this? That is my lecture today. You're like, I want to know about poltergeist. I want to know about what an incubus is. I want to know. It's such a long topic. This guy's sad. He fell down. I don't have it for Harry Potter. I just thought he was cute. And because I'm a small person, I sometimes need something to just like put space, because like I only take up 2/3 of my chair, and I feel like when I sit in the middle I look even smaller. Where'd he go? Blip is getting that employment recommendation for me just for that. Bugger off, Bogart. Are you allowed to say bugger off on Twitch? I'll paint it on the wall. This was fun. So same thing, I always kind of have a question is like time. Have a great one, signing off now. Me too. I'm going to be leaving in just a couple of minutes. Just a couple. Time for streamings for the current viewers. If there's specific times that are better than others. I like midday. So I think I may do some midday.